Hey guys, it's Chris, the Natural Progressive. Um, turn down your volume there. So today I have my beautiful daughter Ariel here with me, and we are going to be discussing a really tough topic. And I I wanted to do this because I wanted to hear a voice of a millennial when they find out the full extent of what is going on. But before we get started, I just wanted to thank my new Patreons really quick because they're awesome. Thank you. You have me so much closer to getting new internet. I'd already started shopping for it. I think I found a good provider that will give me 10 times better than what I have now. So to Chris Foster, thank you very much. Rosemary Hill and Emily Talk, thank you all very, very much for your really generous contributions. This really will help me keep getting this out and getting interviews and it hopefully better quality so we don't have the freezing and such with my horrible internet. So that being said, that brings me to my daughter Ariel. She is 27 years old. She is going to school and she's working full time, busting her butt. I gave her some required watching. I had her watch the Extinction Rebellion video, their meeting in Cambridge, and it's quite a shocking thing, I think, and I have had my doubts of whether I should have shared this or not. So we are going to discuss it, and I will explain more of why I decided to share that information with her. But Ariel, what was your reaction to watching that video?
Oh my gosh. I personally, I had a really hard time. It was actually hard for me to finish. I had to do it in little segments. But it left me feeling kind of hopeless and apathetic. It did remind me how unaware I am, and a lot of people in my generation are. I actually had spoke to a few other people my age and kind of got their input. And right now, I think a lot of us, we don't want to watch the news. Our form of the news is social media outlets, which is sad, but Facebook, Instagram, and just kind of wanting to put those blinders on. The ignorance is bliss almost attitude, which is really sad because I think we just feel hopeless. So after watching it, I do feel a little bit down. There was some hope, though. The 16-year-old girl who's the activist,
Greta.
Greta, yes. I thought if Greta can do something, and she's only 16 and I'm 27, it's better for me to get involved. And even just being on this, I felt like I was able to somewhat kind of contribute, an opinion or how we're kind of feeling as a whole. So
yeah, and I think just people communicating their fears, their thoughts. To me, this channel is kind of an outlet, and it makes me feel like I'm doing something because I'll say this over and over. Action is the antidote to despair. So yeah. I think doing it you can. Plus, I think it's really important that people who care to listen try to make life as comfortable as possible in what's coming up, particularly the upcoming food shortage and water shortage. I want people your age to learn how to grow some food and hopefully make lives a little bit more comfortable, especially with the flooding in the Midwest, where we lost a whole bunch of food supply right there that's not only for us, but for the world. And that's going to have a domino effect, and we're going to lose more and more food supplies and more supplies of clean water. So I think it's important for people to know to prepare. Knowing this information, does it make you feel like you want to be more prepared that way? Maybe you learn how to grow the food. You've seen what I've been doing the last couple of weeks, and I'm really hoping that you learn how to do this, and at least you're here close, and we'll have this set up and and growing, and hopefully you learn, and when I'm gone, you'll still be able to carry it on,
Yeah.
and that's my thoughts on that. I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we need to, because in schools, especially, to kind of touch a little bit on the educational system, I mean, they don't teach you how to garden or to grow. And I know we've talked about having more community gardens. I mean, we have them in the big cities. I know where they are in Salt Lake, but we don't have them in the suburbs or even areas, community gardens for the more rural areas where not everyone has property. And so having maybe some classes that people can actually learn how to garden and learn some of these sustainable ways, and then realizing which I do think my generation is a little bit more conscious, but realizing that even clothing shopping has a huge impact on the environment. And so we my boyfriend and I, we've tried to focus a lot on buying like secondhand thrift store items or, quality clothing that's going to last a while, that we know we're going to have for quite a few years, so that we don't have to add into that pollution. So I think my generation is a little bit aware of, maybe doing stuff like that. But I do feel like when it comes to agriculture and stuff like that, we're really ignorant. You know what I mean? And it's sad. It's sad.
That's the missing link. And I don't know why they don't teach you to grow things anymore. I was taught in elementary school how to plant and grow, how to work with plants and all that. So I think it's really sad that that's not in the curriculum anymore. I think my kids even had to grow a plant as one of their assignments, but we used to have to also build a mini ecosystem, so we understood how different parts of the environment, different players in the environment play off of each other. And I think that's a really good lesson for people to learn while they're sitting there worrying more about the human population than the biodiversity and the animal population. I know you love animals. Yeah. In fact, that's the what you're going to school for, is to be a veterinary nurse. So I think that's incredible. And that's also going to be a very valuable skill coming down to when it gets tough. Just knowing the medical information is going to be huge. And veterinarians not only learn how to do it with animals, they also learn, all different kinds of animals. So they know how to deal with different species. So it's even more broad than just the human doctors. So I think that's really, really valuable what you're doing. Where I think there's certain occupations that people are just wasting their time going to school for, like finance, for instance. I'm really hoping the financial sector will take a nosedive, and I think that it will shortly when the food supply starts to run out and people aren't working anymore because climate has destroyed the roads and everything around them, like what happened in the Midwest. They have to rebuild everything. The problem is when they rebuild everything, they're making a lot of pollution and they're destroying a lot of the biosphere while they're rebuilding all those things. So it is my personal opinion that civilization should just crumble and let the animals take over more. But I'm an animal lover. I love the planet, and I think I know how important biodiversity is. We won't survive if we don't have the insects to pollinate our food. We won't survive without fish in the ocean. We won't survive without the microorganisms in the soils that are being depleted every day. So yeah, it's kind of important. I'd almost rather see civilization just totally tumble. But in the meantime, to slow things down, we should be growing gardens on rooftops in cities. We should be growing gardens on our lawn instead of watering the lawn. I'm having that battle with your dad.
Yeah. Go here.
I know, he loves his lawn. And I talked him into taking some of it out. So yeah, it's a small step in the right direction, I think. And I filled up our back patio with planters to plant lots of food. So and I'm reusing things, 5-gallon buckets to plant in and things like that. And I'm going to be using some of the tires we have stacked out here for planters, because that's better than throwing them in the dump and causing more waste.
Exactly.
And I know you're really aware of pollution and waste and all that. I don't see that in all millennials. I see that in more millennials than I do with older people like my age, the Gen X and and what am I? Am I Gen X? I don't remember. I think I'm Gen X.
So yeah,
I don't know.
Sounds right.
I don't know. So yeah, maybe we have 20 people on with us. Is there anyone that would like to ask Ariel a question? If not, we will just continue. I'll give it a second. Wow. There's 20 people on, but not many people commenting. So this is a really, really, really hard thing to talk about, just because we don't know how much time we have. So at the same time, we know, at least to make the best of what time we have. It's kind of like a cancer patient finds out he has 2 years to live or something. From what I've heard is people that have that experience end up making the very most of their life. They live life more urgently and do more of the things that they really want to do. Do you think that that's a positive point?
To just be living like each day like it's your last.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily. I don't. I think it's better to do something than to do nothing, because I feel like the guilt and the shame would kind of set in.
Oh yeah.
And I also think it's selfish. And I do think that's something that my generation is battling with. I'm finding a lot of people like myself who have a very, similar outlook, but I'm also kind of finding the other end of the extreme where, they have to have the latest, iPhone or MacBook or stuff like that. And they don't think about, the consequences of that purchase on the environment. And why not buy something that's refurbished? Why do you have to have the latest and greatest? And so I'm kind of, like I said, I'm seeing extremes on that, and I feel like it's better to do something than to not do anything.
Oh, absolutely. But I'm talking more about living life with urgency as far as your relationships with your family and your friends.
Oh yeah.
And,
totally.
And that
Sorry.
kind of thing.
Yes.
But yes, I think it's the act and try to live on the planet by doing
what you can,
what we can, and speaking out about it, educating people as much as possible about what's happening, trying not to lose the biodiversity any faster than we have to, fight against more drilling and more destruction of our biodiversity. Just natural resource extraction is 80% of the cause of biodiversity loss. So it's still important to fight against those things that are making it worse faster.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And also, consumerism is one of the largest contributors to that. So, reuse everything if you can. I hate buying clothes. Almost never buy clothes. I got down to 2 pair of jeans before I finally broke down and bought a new pair of jeans. And I should have went to the thrift shop. I have such a hard size to find. I have super long legs, and so they never fit me. But I should have done that. She helps me with those kind of things. She is a very good resource for things that are natural and what's hard on the planet. Tell them about the project you wanted to start.
Oh, so one of my projects in college that I was really interested in was we live not too far from a canyon, and my boyfriend was a campground host the last few years up there. And one thing I would notice when I would go up and help him was how trash was increasing drastically, like campers and people, just day recreationalists, would just leave their trash everywhere and they wouldn't pick it up because they assume, the DNR will pick it up, or the Forest Service, or whoever. And so that was an issue that really, really bothered me. And I've had an issue since I was a little girl. It's always bothered me when people have littered. I don't know. I was raised differently, so I don't do that. And so one thing I actually did was I created a brochure to educate people on the impact that they're, having in our backyard. And then I also, educated them on who actually does pick up the trash. And I interviewed the DNR and I spoke to them. They actually offered me a job, which was funny. I was like, I don't want a job here. I'm just doing a project. But it was, I think those little brochures, it was such a small gesture, but just trying to educate people, okay, this is what happens when you leave your trash behind. This is where your money goes, because a lot of people out where we live have this entitlement mentality, because it is more of like a small vibe. I mean, it's growing, but they kind of feel like, well, why do I have to pay? And where does my money go? And stuff like that. So I thought, why not educate them on what they are paying for, and educate them on who actually owns the land, because a lot of people don't realize, but it's quite confusing, who owns the land and manages the land and stuff like that. So even though my boyfriend had worked for the canyon, he was actually working for a company that was contracted out by the Forest Service, and a lot of people don't understand that, and so that was something that I wanted to educate people on. But I wanted to create a eco enlightenment bag that was biodegradable, and that kind of inspired people that picking up trash was cool, and to make almost a game out of it, because that's kind of what my parents did growing up. So we would just have a little bag and kind of make a game out of it. And one of my first jobs was actually working for a city in Salt Lake, picking up trash at construction sites. So I thought, if I could make this bag and I could educate people on what they're doing just on a local standpoint, but to our backyard, and the detrimental effects that that's having, not just on our reputation, but on our environment, educating them on how long these items take to biodegrade, maybe they'll think twice before leaving that plastic bottle, at the reservoir or at the campground. And so my idea was to create this biodegradable bag, go through all the legalities, of course, and then I want to pitch it to, some of the big names in the recreation industry, and have that bag actually be compact and something that they would give out, at the, what is it called? The recreational outlet event that we do here in
outdoor recreation.
Yeah, outdoor recreation.
That moved to Colorado.
I know, and I know. And
because Utah sucks.
Which, you know what? I can see why they moved.
Yeah, it was because of the monuments, and how the state fought to open up those lands, buy the monuments, and reduce the monuments, and make them into mining operations, basically. Yeah. So I can see why they left, and I understand it. Yeah, it's very upsetting. This state is really messed up as far as environment. And what do you think about the religious influence here, and how that affects what's happening with our environment?
Gosh, it's bad. It's bad. Growing up in it, and having a background and stuff like that, it's hard, because they do teach you how to can, and you do learn a lot of good things from, I guess, the LDS Church, but they are after, what can we take? How many churches and temples can we build? How many people can we recruit? And I personally don't feel like the church is out to educate people on the environment. I don't think they really care. They just have this mentality, oh, well, I'll be saved, and the second coming's coming, whenever that coming is, I don't know. So I don't know. I don't feel like the church is a positive influence on the environment at all. And I don't think most religion is. I'm sorry, but I don't. So
yeah, no, I fully agree. And especially with religions that really push you having children, as many as possible, which is big. And I mean, there's a reason they call Brigham Young University Brigham Young University, because they try everything they can to get women pregnant by the time they're 18, 19 years old.
Exactly. Yes. And I had a really hard time with that. I broke away from the church. Thank goodness. And their mentality is you get married when you're 18. You go to college. While you're in college, you get pregnant.
Then you drop out of college.
You drop out of college, or you finish, but you never use that degree.
Right, because you're too busy staying at home having babies.
Exactly. And so
until you can't afford to stay home anymore because everything's so expensive.
Well, and that's the thing too, is a lot of people, it's like, you know, when you sit down and do the math, our generation, I mean, I do it, you know, I've done it, and I don't want kids personally, so I am a little biased on the topic, but I can't actually afford to have a kid, you know. And then I think of the long-term effects that child would have on the environment, and also what they would be born into. To me, it's just not worth it. And I do feel like, and I know I might get a lot of rude comments from this, and that's fine, but I feel like reproduction is kind of a selfish thing. And when I tell people I don't want children, the first thing they say in the state of Utah is, well, who's going to take care of you when you're older? Well, I don't know. Hopefully I just croak, you know, and in my sleep or something, and no one ever has to take care of me. But I don't want to burden society, you know, with having a child. So I don't think the church is, they focus a lot of the value on the female by having children. And if you don't have children, it's,
you're lesser.
Yes, exactly. It's shameful. You know, you got to adopt, or you got to get involved in foster care. You got to have a kid somehow to them, you know.
Which I'm fine with adopting or foster care.
Which is fine.
I think that's not selfish. I think that's a great thing to do.
Give them a better life. Yeah.
And I've told my kids all growing up, adopt if you're going to have kids. You know, and yeah, it's kind of very selfish to have children, especially right now, understanding the issues with not only the climate change, but the overpopulation and the struggles we're going to have feeding people. And an unborn child, I love this because this was from Sam Mitchell when I did his interview, has exactly zero footprint. So that's the best thing you could possibly do is to help our environment, our climate, is to not have babies. And then we have idiots running are in the Senate for our state. Mike Lee, did you see Mike Lee? And his thing, have babies to solve the problem.
Yes, I remember us talking about that.
Yes.
No. No.
No more babies. Just no more babies. That's just wrong. It's like, I tweeted to him and told him that idea is just like throwing logs onto a house fire.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not going to solve anything. It's going to make it worse. So please don't have babies. Just think of the amount of diapers alone.
Yeah.
For you know, everybody who was having a baby here in Utah, just diapers alone.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see.
Yeah, calculate the costs and then think about the decision. That's what I do.
Oh yeah.
So and then think about the long-term impact.
Yeah, and plus the child's life would be horrendous. So I mean, it's just horrible. And every time I talk about population and people shouldn't have babies, I get hell for having 3 kids. I have to go back to the fact that the doctors would not fix me in this messed up state until I was 23 or had 3 kids. So,
yeah,
you know, I didn't have any control. It was just crap. No control. Well, I guess I could have been celibate, but yeah. I was a horny 20-year-old, for Christ's sake. You know, in my 20s. I'm sorry. If men could just do what they want and get a vasectomy, and they have that opportunity, where women It was hard to get birth control back then. The stuff we could get wasn't very effective, and you're messing up your body with hormones.
Yeah.
I just wanted the doctor to tie my tubes. That's it.
Yeah.
And I'm very, I love my children.
Sorry to interrupt you, but a lot of that too goes back to, you know, also, you know, everything's hush hush in this state. So the church makes sure, you know, it makes it really hard for us to even get like sexual education.
Oh yeah, sexual education is,
so I mean,
they can only talk about,
yeah,
they're not allowed to talk about birth control.
No, they don't.
They can just talk about how it works.
And hygiene products. That's all I learned about.
Yeah.
So
I sat through all the ones and for my daughters, my biological, this is my stepdaughter, by the way, which doesn't make her any less my daughter, by the way. But yeah, I sat through that with my other two girls, and yeah, they didn't teach anything about birth control.
They don't.
None.
Yeah.
So if we would have a long time ago just put women's reproductive rights in their hands and not in someone else's, not in the patriarchal society that thinks they know better and we should have more babies because that's what women are for. Maybe I can hear. Sorry, guys. I think you can hear Oz. I don't think he can hear me. He's having a conversation with his wife, which is cool. But
about not to have more babies.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yep. That's something we all need to discuss. Yeah, but anyway, they didn't talk about that in school, and I think it's a damn shame. And they made it really hard. There were very few Planned Parenthoods. They're trying to make them so they're non-existent because they don't want to give those rights to women to be educated and to have the options that they give men. Men can get a vasectomy like that. No big deal. They have all the control in the world. Sorry to hear fine. Oh my goodness. Anyway, what else? I wish people would be commenting. Of course, I can't see anyway because my phone.
Maybe I offended too many people.
I don't know.
So
no one is commenting. That's weird. Usually we have 20,000 comments. I mean, no one wants to ask a millennial?
They probably have one, huh?
They probably do. I'm sure. But okay, so any final thoughts? I know you have things to do. Your friend is in town, so we won't keep this too long.
No, I mean, I think we just need to, I think what you guys are doing is great, trying to educate, you know, and I hope that my generation, some of it, can try and, you know, actually make an impact, focus on some of these topics we kind of touched on, with, you know, agriculture and, you know, population and recycling and stuff like that. So I mean,
but the problem with recycling right now, sure, aluminum you can recycle, but it's all like, it's not going anywhere. It's sitting in shipyards because no one will take it because it's too expensive to recycle it.
Yes.
So that's a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, in Malaysia, you can see video of it just piling up because they accepted it to get some money from it, but now it's just mountains of garbage. So that makes it difficult. God, I love it when I freeze. Oh, well. So anyway, yeah, that's a huge, recycling is good if you can actually do it. Reusing, I think, is very, very, very important. Repurposing things is very, very important. Not needing to have the
latest,
greatest. Like even remodeling the house, I wanted to remodel it forever, and now I'm thinking, no, that would be really irresponsible. You know,
paint isn't.
Yeah. Toxic.
It's not biodegradable.
And then all the flooring and all that and all the off-gassing it gives and plus the energy it takes to manufacture it. I'm rethinking everything about my life.
Yeah.
So he's running comments. I've already said hello to all these people. Everyone on here. Torstein, Oswald, Justin, That's all this commenting, guys. What's wrong with you people? Don't you want to comment? Because we are about ready to end this. I will just announce my other shows, but yeah, any other good ideas about, are you going to start learning how to garden with me?
Yes, I am. And I'm going to focus on, I want to also focus on species conservation.
Yes.
Because that's dear to my heart.
Biodiversity loss is my big thing. I did 2 shows on it already.
I know, I watched them. They were great.
Yeah, and then also I did that interview with, you should watch, oh, did you, the Deanna Meyer interview where she talks about the groundhogs.
Yes, I did watch that. I love that.
Yeah, those are
such a good one.
I like her sentiment. We got to fight for everything we have left.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try and bring more people like that are fighting for what we have left. So
better to do something than nothing. So
yeah,
that's my outlook.
Speak out, talk to people, just, not everybody is ready to take it on like all at once. And I really feel bad about doing that to you, Ariel. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I want to look more into the Extinction Rebellion. So.
Yeah, it's a great group. It really is. And in fact, they want the government and the media to get more information out to people so we know and be honest about it. So maybe we could deploy the military instead of bombing other countries. Maybe they could come home and start building gardens.
That would be great. Yes.
So that's my feeling on it. So
I agree.
All right. Yeah. I'm glad we agreed so much for being my guest, Ariel. I really appreciate it. I know it was a tough one. It's not the funnest topic on the planet. And hopefully you'll come back when you start getting your thing going and we can promote that up for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so nice, short, sweet show on Sunday. I'm sure everybody has lots of things to do. I'm going to be gardening and taking care of my animals and stuff. So just make sure you come here. Oh, my hair is just weird today. Come in Tuesday. Thursday. I have John Halstead. He wrote, it's an essay, or I think he has a blog, and it's called "Is It Too Late?" with a question mark. And he's done some more stuff. We'll talk about all that when he comes on Thursday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. And then Sandy Scholes from Environmental Coffee House will be here Friday at 6 p.m. And we are going to really deep dive into Mike Lee, probably make fun of him mercilessly because he's an idiot, especially with his presentation about children having many as babies as you can to solve the climate crisis. So we're going to have a great time doing that. That's going to be fun. At any rate, we are done. I guess you guys have a very good rest of your Sunday, and we will talk to you Thursday. Have a good one.